her students' improvement and learning, factors that she had far more control over than her school's resources and equity and access. Now, that said, any major change to standardized testing in the United States would be absurdly expensive and difficult to implement, as those changes are likely going to be fought by those major non-profit Big Three organizations whose profits depend solely upon the use of their products in American schools. Ignoring this, which we can't really do, but that I guess I have to move forward here, I think a lot of the cost would come in the form of teachers' effort. I mean, still these tests would have to be purchased by schools from companies, so maybe that's the end. You know, these standardized testing companies just change the test. Maybe that's the way, and I'm not sure how easy that would be to implement. But outside of that, the real cost would come in the form of active participation and efforts from the teachers themselves, because it seems to me that the bulk of value in this dynamic assessment approach comes from the mediation phase, the ability for teachers to help students make real progress in the classroom, to come up with these, individualized learning experiences that will really help students focus on the things they're having an issue with and how to improve them. So, I guess, fortunately, fortunately, because this would be awesome. So you need qualified and dedicated teachers. Those are the ones who would excel here. How to guarantee that you have those, I don't know. That one I can't give you an answer to right now. But with an active effort and constant participation paid to your students and their individualized learning needs and strategies and styles and concerns, you're able to help these students on a really individual level, which seems useful. It seems like a pretty good idea to me. How will classrooms look? How will they change? I don't know that they have to. They'll probably look the same. There will be considerably less vomit, I hope, from what I understand, because, again, not really a fan. But outside of that, the loss of whatever aesthetic vomit offers and applies to the classroom, and I guess the smell would improve. I don't think that they'd have to look or feel any different. No, actually, feel different. That's the big thing. So in my research, you find a lot of classrooms that start to cut out the fun. I read an article about a teacher in a science classroom whose pumpkin drop was being cut this Halloween because it didn't apply to anything that was being taught on whatever their state's test was. I can't quite remember where it was from. And since that wasn't being taught, why drop a pumpkin? I believe that considerably more pumpkins will be dropped if a change like this was implemented. I think so. Pumpkins need to be dropped. That was fun. That I remember. So who might disagree with or challenge the change? I've really already covered this, but I'll mention it again. So you have those big three major profiteers, the standardized testing industry, and they would fight, and politically so, to maintain their hold on assessment in the American education system. Now, would they have to give it up under this dynamic assessment system? Kind of, maybe. They'd have to change. Would they still profit? Probably. And is that dangerous to the American education system, that people are finding means to profit off of it? Probably. Profit and exploitation happen with one another pretty often. But it's not something that I guess we can really ignore. They'll certainly challenge it, and they'll certainly disagree with it, because right now they're profiting. And this change might not necessarily mark or meet those same expectations of profit, which ultimately we have to assume is what they are there for. In spite of what the ETS website told me when I signed up for the GRE, they seemed, they seemed to think that they would not be profiting from me. Though I guess, again, as I understand, they've seen a huge downturn in profits recently. Anyway, irrelevant. So that's my presentation and the issue at hand. And I don't know that I solved the problem, but dynamic assessment seems interesting. It seems like a fair, or at least reasonably fair, median, middle line between standardized testing and fully curriculum-based assessment, where you're testing solely what you teach. I mean, at least here, standardized testing still occurs, and you still have a standard to hold students to. But alternatively, this still allows room for individualized instruction and assessment, which seem far more valuable to me. And I don't understand how we can ignore that individuals are individuals. That one seems silly. Anyway, I'm rambling, and I should stop. Thank you for watching. I have no idea how long this was, so I am sorry. I ramble a lot, and I think I'm doing it now. Hopefully it wasn't as bad as it very well could have been. Thanks again.